Hare Krishna, the Pranam dear devotees. Hari Bol to Ritesh Prabhu, Vishwanath Prabhu for leading the chanting this morning. Let's continue with our prayers. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvatam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvatam Sha Namaham Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Samannate Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatadeshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. Yes, let's continue with our prayer of the week. Just Hari Hari Vipale Janama Gamayu. So there are different melodies. Maybe I'll sing in a different melody today. Okay, hopefully you're able to see the screen. Hari Hari Vipale Janama Gavaino Manusha Janama Paya Radha Krishna Bhajiya Janiya Shuniya Bishakhaino Janiya Shuniya Bishakhaino Golokera Prema Dhana Hari Nama Sankirtana Ratina Janmilo Kenetai Samsara Bishanale Divani Shihiya Jvale Jurai Tena Koino Upai Brajendra Nandana Ji Shachisuta Hoilo Se Balaram Hoilo Nitai Dinahina Jata Chilo Hari Name Udharilo Tara Sakshi Jagai Madhai Aha Prabhu Nanda Sutta Vrishabhanu Sutta Juta Aha Prabhu Nanda Sutta Vrishabhanu Sutta Juta Karuna Karo He Baro Karuna Karo He Baro Narottama Dasa Koe Natheli Ho Ranga Pai Narottama Dasa Koe Natheli Ho Ranga Pai Toma Bine Kiya Che Amara Toma bine kiya che amara. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. हरि बोल श्री इष्टदेव ज्ञप्ति की जय श्री प्रार्थना की जय श्री नरोत्तम दास ठाकुर महाशय की जय जगत गुरु श्री प्रभुपाद की जय Okay, anybody would like to read the translation?
I can read, Prabhu.
Yes, Shri Mataji, please.
O Lord Hari, I've spent my life uselessly, having obtained a human birth and having not worshipped Radha and Krishna. I've knowingly drunk poison. The treasure of divine love in Golok Vrindavan has descended as a congregational chanting of Lord's Hari's holy names. Why did my attraction for that chanting never come about? Day and night my heart burns from the fire of the poison of worldliness, and I have not taken the means to relieve it. Lord Krishna, who is the son of the king of Raja, became the son of Sachi, Lord Chaitanya, and Balram became Nitai. The holy name delivered all those souls who were lowly and wretched. The two sinners, Jagai and Madai, are evidence of this. O Lord Krishna, son of Nanda, accompanied by the daughter of Rishabhanu, please be merciful to me now. Narottam Das says, O Lord, please do not push me away from your reddish lotus feet, for who is my beloved except for you? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Shri Mataji. Anything you want to share from this prayer?
Yes, Prabhu, when I came to Krishna consciousness, this was one of the first bhajan which I heard, and this touched my heart so much, till now. This is my favorite one. So, especially the last line, it reminds me of Mirabai, where it says, or like Narottam Das says, for who is my beloved except for you? And Mirabai says the same thing, मेरे तो गिरधर गोपाल दूसरा ना कोई. So I was hearing one lecture and it says that मेरे तो गिरधर गोपाल, okay, but the second line is the most important, दूसरो ना कोई, like nobody is there except for you. That we have to um, apply in our life, that there are many people in our life, but we need to understand Krishna is the only one who will protect us. So, yeah.
Hare Bol, Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for sharing that and reminding us all of another pure devotee of the Lord, Shri Mirabai. Yes, Mirabai is, of course, very, very special, very pure devotee of the Lord. And like you said, yes, rightly, that Krishna also says, Ananya Cheta Satatam, Ananyas Chintayanto Mam, right? So sometimes we have so many different paths, but Krishna, by the mercy of the Vaishnavas, Kripa, we have got a path. So we have to unflinchingly stay firm and determined on the path that Srila Prabhupada, will lead us back home, back to God. And we just take shelter of pure devotee of the Lord, and then, yes, the route is clear. But yeah, that firm faith we need to develop, and that once we have that firm faith, the nishtha, I think it's very, very, very difficult in this day and age in Kali Yuga. That's why Mahaprabhu has given this simple process, right? Because if everything is complicated in this world that we live in today, that we need simple life. We need everything simple. And what can be more simple than just engaging our tongue? There is not even one paisa that we need to spend, one penny we need to spend, right? Everything is there. Just vibrate our tongue. That's it. What else is needed? That cannot be more simpler than this. So, if you just do that, yes, then we can go back home, back to Godhead. And yes, this holy name. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. But yeah, this holy name is what Mirabai is also chanting always. All the wonderful bhajans that she composed. And the holy names is what Prabhupada was also talking about yesterday, being a resident of Vrindavan. Again, the only instruction that he got from his spiritual master, the first and last, was to go to Western countries and preach. Preach is again using your tongue, using your body, mind, and words in the service of the Lord. So as we were reading Prabhupada Lilamrit summary yesterday, yes, Prabhupada was feeling like an eternal resident, of Vrindavan, getting mercy of all those pure devotees, of the Goswamis, of his Guru Maharaj in Radha Damodar temple, as he is seated here. And I was remembering a couple of things that came to mind, as we were reading yesterday's passage, and I was reflecting on that how Prabhupada was walking in the streets of Vrindavan, and everybody was chanting Jai Radhe, and then Prabhupada was saying Hare Krishna. So, so once, when Malati Mataji was here, she would say that, when they say Radhe Radhe, and we say Hare Krishna. So Prabhupada was making everybody say Hare Krishna. Yeah, of course, there's no different way when we say Radhe Radhe, we're remembering the purest devotee of the Lord, Srimati Radharani. But in our Upasana, we have the Yugal Jodi Upasana, so we always keep Radha and Krishna together. That's why in all ISKCON temples, yes, we have Shri Radha Krishna, Shri Radha Vrindavan Chandra, Shri Radha Madan Mohan, everywhere it's Radha Krishna together. So Hari and Krishna are always together. Um, because I also remember one pastime where Prabhupada, once one South Indian person comes to Prabhupada and, he comes to the temple and, he's looking for that bell, generally in South India, or any temple in India, usually when you go, there is a bell outside the temple. So you ring the bell, or you hit the bell right as you enter into the altar. So this person, South Indian person, he came to Prabhupada and he says, "There's no bell here in your temple, in your temple." And then Prabhupada says, "You see, you hear this, what you're hearing from your ears." And he says, "Yeah, Hare Krishna, Hare Kirtan is going on." So yes, that is the bell. So using our tongue as the bell, we are in ISKCON and Hare Krishna. Chanting of Hare Krishna is the bell. You'll always be hearing Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. So Prabhupada was telling him that is our bell. So we always keep ringing Hare Krishna. Also, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu once had the similar pastime when he was in Keturi Dham. The devotees, they were asking him in Kulia Dham, at the Kulia Gram it was. So, it's like, Mahaprabhu, you tell us that, okay, told us about the glories of the holy name, but how do we identify a pure Vaishnava? Then Mahaprabhu tells something similar. He says, anybody who chants Hare Krishna, if you hear Hare Krishna from the mouth of anybody, you consider him as a Vaishnava. And I said, what? Just if somebody says Hare Krishna one time, he's a Vaishnava? He says, yes. I said, no. There has to be something more deeper. Tell us. Then he says, okay, anybody who's constantly chanting Hare Krishna, you consider him a Vaishnava. He says, what? Oh, so somebody has to continuously keep chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. He says, yes. Oh, no, this is too difficult, Then he says, no, please tell us. Then finally Mahaprabhu says, okay, anybody, if you see, and seeing him, if you chant Hare Krishna, then consider him as a Vaishnava. So that is the ultimate. So, like that, Prabhupada is walking on the streets of Vrindavan and looking at him. Of course, people are saying Hare Krishna. He's making people say Hare Krishna. Right. So anyway, so we see any devotees that we meet when we say Hare Krishna, right? So that is only possible, Aishwarya has explained, like in ISKCON, anybody who sees, whether he's just wearing the dress, saffron dress, or whether he's having a tilak or a kanti mala or a japa bead in his hand, japa mala and chanting, people will just say, hey, dekho, Hare Krishna wale aa gaye, or, this Hare Krishna. They're just looking at, as, people say Hare Krishna. So everybody in ISKCON is a pure Vaishnava, according to the definition of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we should never consider anybody lowly. Like in Chaitanya Charitamrita also Mahaprabhu explains something similar, that all the branches of this Chaitanya tree, nothing can be considered lowly or highly. Everybody is equal. So all are pure Vaishnavas, devotees of the Lord. If anybody is not, we should consider ourselves as the most lowly, who's trying to become a Vaishnava. But everybody else, just because just by looking at them, if you're able to say Hare Krishna, then by definition of Mahaprabhu, he is a pure Vaishnava. Okay, let's continue. We are reading chapter 11, The Dream Come True. Writing was only half the battle. The other half was publishing. Among his Delhi contacts, Bhaktivedanta Swami considered Hitsaran Sharma a likely helper, who was the owner of a commercial printing works, Radha Press. But Bhaktivedanta Swami objected that the type was not large enough. He wanted 12-point type, but the Radha Press had only 10-point. So Mr. Sharma agreed to take the work to another printer, Mr. Gautam Sharma of OK Press, who printed Bhaktivedanta Swami's Volume 1 of the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Volume 1 received favorable reviews, and Swami wanted to use the funds collected for printing of Volume 2 of the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. In June, Bhaktivedanta Swami got the opportunity to meet Prime Minister Lal Bahadur Shastri. He handed the Prime Minister a copy of Volume 1. The Prime Minister wrote to Swami that it would be a good idea if the libraries and the government institutions purchased copies of this book. The Prime Minister agreed to take 50 copies of Volume 2 just as they had taken Volume 1. To concentrate on completing Volume 3, Bhaktivedanta Swami returned to the Radha Damodar temple. These were the last chapters of the first canto, dealing with the advent of the present age of Kali. To raise funds for Volume 3, Bhaktivedanta Swami decided to go to Bombay and visit Sumati Morarji, head of the Scindia Steamship Company. Here he is meeting Lal Bahadur Shastri. Bhaktivedanta Swami met Prime Minister Lal Bahadur Shastri and gave Srimad Bhagavatam. He said the copies of this book should be placed in government libraries. The Prime Minister agreed to take 50 copies of Volume 2 just as they had taken Volume 1. Sumati Murarji agreed to aid the printing of the third volume of Srimad Bhagavatam. The third volume would complete the first canto. Then, with a supply of impressive literature, he would be ready to go to the West. Then, Bhaktivedanta Swami met Mr. Agarwal, a Mathura businessman, told that he wanted to go to the West. Mr. Agarwal said that he would ask his son Gopal, an engineer in Pennsylvania, to send back a sponsorship form. With his passport and sponsorship papers, Bhaktivedanta Swami went to Bombay because now he wanted a ticket for America. Again, he tried approaching Sumati Morarji, who, considering the age of Swami, did not permit. Finally, due to the determination of the Swami, she agreed to make an arrangement to send the Swami by their ship to the west. Mrs. Morarji scheduled a place for him on one of her ships, the Jaladuta, which was sailing from Calcutta on August 13th. She had made certain that he would travel on a ship whose captain understood his needs. Mrs. Morarji told the Jaladuta's captain Arun Pandya to carry extra vegetables and fruits for the Swami. As the day of his departure approached, Bhaktivedanta Swami took stock of his meager possessions. He had only a suitcase, an umbrella, and a supply of dry cereal. His main baggage, several trunks of his books, was being handled separately by Scindia Cargo. 230 volume sets. The very thought of the books gave him confidence. End of chapter 11. This is a very wonderful picture of Srila Prabhupada boarding Jaladuta. And here in the inset we have Prabhupada talking to Srimati Morarji Desai, who was pivotal in giving Prabhupada the pathway to go to the West. Yes, Mrs. Sumati Morarji gave a place for Swami on one of her ships, Jaladuta, which was sailing from Calcutta on August 13th. Bhaktivedanta Swami had only a suitcase, an umbrella, and his main baggage was several trunks of his books. Yes, this diorama or exhibit is also there in our Shri Krishna Balaram temple in Vrindavan. Prabhupada, taking these steps to board the Jaladuta. So all these things help us remember these eternal pastimes of Srila Prabhupada, how he traveled to this remote corner of the world, not caring about his own personal health at the age of 70 years. Just again, like I said, his outstanding asset was his complete surrender to the instructions of his spiritual master who told him to go west. That was his first and last instruction. So he remembered that instruction even when he was 70. Chapter 12, The Journey to America. In the Jaladuta, regular cargo carrier, in the passenger cabin aboard, during the voyage from Calcutta to New York in August 1965, the cabin was occupied by Sri Abhay Charanaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami, whose age was listed as 69 and who had a complimentary ticket with food. Swami was comfortable but later developed seasickness. On August 21st was his 69th birthday, the day after Janmashtami. He cooked for everyone, took a Janmashtami class, but his birthday went unnoticed. On the third day, Swami had a dream where Lord Krishna came and told that he was rowing the boat, and Swami felt assured of Lord Krishna's protection. After a 35-day journey from Calcutta, the Jaladuta reached Boston's Commonwealth Pier at 5:30 a.m. on September 17, 1965. The ship was to stop briefly in Boston before proceeding to New York City. Swami regularly wrote diary where he disclosed his mind to his companion, Lord Krishna, and also composed some Bengali verses and also wrote the Markine Bhagavata Dharma. Few points he wrote were how the population was covered by the material modes of ignorance and passion, and that he was a puppet in Lord Krishna's hands, and he could make him dance as he likes. The Lord had brought him to this place, and how he was going to repeat the Lord's words, and how the Lord has the power to make his speech suitable for their understanding. This is the journey in Jaladuta. On the third day, Swami had a dream where Lord Krishna came and told that he was rowing the boat. Swami felt assured of Lord Krishna's protection. How beautiful these pictures are. Again, these wonderful artists, disciples of Srila Prabhupada, they have the vision of pure devotee, how Prabhupada had this dream. And then, like we were saying yesterday, when we are devoted our lives to the instructions of Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga, then even the sleep, even the dreams become a bhajan. So we see how the Lord comes in the dreams and blesses a pure devotee. Okay. Thus indicating his surrender to his Guru and Lord Krishna, he signed as the most unfortunate, insignificant beggar, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. On the 19th of September, the Jaladuta sailed into New York Harbor. At the Scindia office, Prabhupada spoke with the ticket agent, Joseph Forster, who found Srila Prabhupada to be a pleasant gentleman, who spoke of the nice accommodations and treatment he had received aboard the Jaladuta. Srila Prabhupada, the umbrella and suitcase in hand, and still escorted by the traveler's aid representative, set out for the Port Authority bus terminal to arrange for his trip to Butler. The 19th of September, the Jaladuta sailed into New York Harbor. Srila Prabhupada, with umbrella and suitcase in hand, set out for the Port Authority bus terminal to arrange for his trip to Butler. Chapter 13. Butler, Pennsylvania, the first testing ground. In Butler, Swamiji arrived at the Agarwal's home. Mr. Gopal Agarwal and Mrs. Sally Agarwal hosted Srila Prabhupada in their house. Mrs. Sally Agarwal arranged for an interview with Butler Eagle. An article appeared in it with Srila Prabhupada's photo on it, and the caption read, Ambassador of Bhakti Yoga. At Prabhupada's request, Mr. Agarwal held a kind of open house in his apartment every night from 6 to 9. When he had first landed in New York, he had in his luggage a large bundle of dried cereal, similar to rolled oats. Every morning at breakfast, he would take some with milk. Around 9:30, Prabhupada would start preparing his lunch in the kitchen. He made his chapatis by hand, without even a rolling pin. He worked alone for 2 hours while Mrs. Agarwal did housework and took care of her children. When he cooked, he used only one burner. The bottom level pot created the steam. He had dal on the bottom, and it created the steam to cook many other vegetables. At 11:30, he took prasadam and also offered to the Agarwals. After lunch, Prabhupada would leave about 1 p.m. and walk to the YMCA, where he would work on his writing until 5. He would come back at 6 after they had taken their meal. They ate meat, so Mrs. Agarwal was careful to have it cleared away before he came. Prabhupada used to tolerate it. In the evening, he would speak with guests who would take coffee and other refreshments, but he would request a glass of warm milk at 9 o'clock. Around 9:30 a.m., Prabhupada would start preparing his lunch in the kitchen. He worked alone for 2 hours. He had the dal on the bottom of 3-tiered cooker, and it created the steam to cook many other vegetables. It's all the very, very famous pictures, first pictures of Srila Prabhupada in America, Butler, Pennsylvania. He would stay, speaking until 9:30 or 10, and then Mr. Agarwal would drive him back to the YMCA. Prabhupada would also do his own laundry every day. He washed his clothes in the Agarwal's bathroom and hung them to dry outside. Srila Prabhupada received a letter from Sumati Murarji where she prays to Lord Balakrishna to give Swamiji enough strength to carry the message of Sri Bhagavatam, and said Swamiji should return only after his mission was completed. He had spent long enough in Butler, and he now had 1 month left in America. So he decided to go to New York City and try to preach there before his time was up. But first, he wanted to visit Philadelphia, where he had arranged a meeting with the Sanskrit professor Dr. Norman Brown at the University of Pennsylvania. On October 18th, he left Butler via Philadelphia for New York City. Chapter 14. Struggling Alone. Prabhupada did not know anyone in New York City, but he had a contact, Dr. Ramamurthy Mishra. He had written to Dr. Mishra from Butler, enclosing the letter of introduction Paramananda Mehra had given him in Bombay. He had also phoned Dr. Mishra, who welcomed Prabhupada to join him in New York. At the Port Authority bus terminal, a student of Dr. Mishra's met him as he arrived from Philadelphia and escorted him directly to an Indian festival in the city. There, Prabhupada met Dr. Mishra as well as Ravi Shankar and his brother, the dancer Uday Shankar. Prabhupada then accompanied Dr. Mishra to his apartment at 33 Riverside Drive, beside the Hudson River. Srila Prabhupada lived at Dr. Mishra's yoga ashram in room number 501. Dr. Mishra had been suffering from bad health, and Prabhupada's arrival seemed the perfect medicine. Dr. Mishra appreciated that Prabhupada, cooking with the precision of a chemist, would prepare many dishes and that he had a gusto for eating. Prabhupada wrote to his godbrother Tirtha Maharaj, who had become president of the Gaudiya Math, to remind him that their spiritual master, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, had a strong desire to open preaching centers in the Western countries, asking him for help in the mission, but he got an unfavorable reply that Gaudiya Math funds could not be used for this purpose. Prabhupada replied, "It is not very encouraging. Still, I am not a man to be disappointed." But Srila Prabhupada did not judge beforehand who would serve Krishna's mission and who would not. He was fully surrendered and fully dependent on Krishna, and in obedience to his spiritual master, he would approach everyone without discrimination to ask for help. There was Sumati Morarji. She had helped him in publishing the Srimad Bhagavatam, and she had sent him to America. Prabhupada considered Dr. Mishra a Mayavadi because of his inadvertent acceptance that Maya illusion is greater than the absolute truth. For Srila Prabhupada, not only was the impersonal philosophy unpalatable, it was an insult to the personality of Godhead. Lord Chaitanya had concluded that if one even hears the commentary of Shankara, one's entire spiritual life is spoiled. Dr. Mishra was content to align himself with the philosophy of Shankara and allow Prabhupada to stay with Lord Krishna and Bhagavad Gita. But Srila Prabhupada pointed out that even Shankara accepted that the personality of Godhead Krishna or Narayana exists eternally beyond the material world. Therefore, he is a transcendental person. Narayana Paro Vyaktat. And a mendicant, Prabhupada was temporarily dependent on the goodwill of his Mayavadi acquaintance, with whom he regularly ate and conversed, and from whom he accepted shelter. But what a great inconvenience it was! He had come to America to speak purely and boldly about Krishna, but he was being restricted. In Butler, he had been confined by his host's middle class sensibilities. Now he was silenced in a different way. He was treated with kindness, but he was considered a threat. Dr. Mishra could not allow his students to hear the exclusive praise of Lord Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Spending most of his time in his new room, Srila Prabhupada kept at his typing and translating. But when Dr. Mishra held his yoga classes, Prabhupada would sometimes lead a kirtan or lecture. Dr. Mishra would give lectures carrying the impersonal interpretation of Bhagavad Gita according to Shankara, and Prabhupada, when allowed to speak, would counter them. Once Prabhupada asked Dr. Mishra to help him in spreading Lord Chaitanya's movement and offered to engage him in checking the Sanskrit to his translations of Srimad Bhagavatam, but Dr. Mishra declined, a decision he later regretted. Every morning, several hours before dawn, Prabhupada would rise, take his bath, chant Hare Krishna on his beads, and work at his translating. While outside his closed-in, windowless chamber, dawn came and the city awoke. He had no stove, so daily he had to walk the 7 blocks to the Riverside Drive apartment to cook. Still careful for the condition of his heart, he liked the long stretches of flat walking area. Sometimes he would walk from Dr. Mishra's studio down 72nd Street to Amsterdam Avenue to the West End Superet, where he would buy produce and spices for his cooking. Srila Prabhupada got an opportunity to preach at the Tagore Society of New York, Inc. And he preached about how the chanting of Hare Krishna enabled one to remember Lord. So he would call out the Lord's holy names. Some of the people were looking for a guru and trying to find out what he was supposed to be. Some of them were really interrogating him, but he just smiled and answered all their questions simply. He suggested that people go over and read the books. And then the group dwindled down to about half a dozen, and the few remaining were just looking at him, and some were too timid to approach him. He walked over to them and spoke to them, putting them at ease. Later he came over, and we counted the collection, and one devotee whom Srila Prabhupada had just met prior to the lecture helped him pack up his box and carry downstairs the boxes of books that were left. As they parted, Srila Prabhupada thanked him very much, and he purchased a set of Srimad Bhagavatam. Hari Bol. Chapter 14 ends there. These are the early days, walking in wilderness in the cold, brazen cold of New York City. But yeah, he liked walking on flat stretches because of his heart condition. So walking 7 blocks every day at the age of 70. It's like that power, that energy comes from the Lord himself. Like we saw in that picture, Krishna came and blessed Srila Prabhupada personally in the Jaladuta. Yeah, this passage reminds again of the pastime Prabhupada once Guru Maharaj was mentioning in 1968 when Prabhupada was in Canada, and how here we see Dr. Mishra, is following the impersonalist philosophy. But even, like Prabhupada says, even Adi Shankaracharya himself said, what did he say? Bhaja Govindam, Govindam Bhaja Mudamate. Samprapte sannihite kale, nahi nahi rakshati dukrin karane. So at the end of our life, all this grammar and all this mental concoction is not going to help us. And the only thing that is going to help us is the holy names of the Lord. So, Bhaja Govindam, Govindam Bhaja Mudamate, oh dull-headed, fool, worship the Lord by chanting His holy names, by following the process of devotional service. So that was the final instruction of even given by Shankaracharya. But the so-called people who are under the curtain of Maya will not understand that message. So, as the Guru Maharaj was mentioning in 1968, when something similar happened, when Prabhupada was giving this talk in the, like here he's giving at YMCA, and he was giving in a Christian school, and everybody was attentively listening. And at the end, when Prabhupada called for questions, then this person of Indian origin, he was an Indian person, um, he questioned Prabhupada that why are you preaching this, philosophy? Why are you saying Krishna is the only one? Krishna is the only God. There are so many gods, and why are you preaching this here in this country in Christian school? And Prabhupada just tolerated him, right? So, and then after that, when Prabhupada was about to leave in a couple of months, he still remembered that person, and he asked Guru Maharaj to bring him. And then Guru Maharaj was telling him, why do you want to meet him, Prabhupada? He insulted. Everybody else was very upset. All the devotees were very upset, but Prabhupada just tolerated him that day. And then when he was leaving, before that, he met him, but he told Guru Maharaj that I must have done something wrong to him. So he took the revenge. That's it. But so much of compassion and mercy he had that again he didn't. Of course, it was not a blanket statement. Prabhupada never used to make like that with everybody, right? Because sometimes we saw how he would be strong like a lion, just like his Guru Maharaj Bhaktisiddhanta was in his preaching endeavors. But we always know, that's why we say a guru knows the past, present, and future, everything, right? So Srila Prabhupada knew that maybe something in his previous life had been done against him, so he just took revenge, and Prabhupada just tolerated that. So like that, he's tolerating Dr. Mishra here because he's being served by him. So he didn't reject or didn't discriminate on the basis of external dress or externally what somebody was saying or doing. Even Sally Agarwal and Gopal Agarwal, who hosted him, as the first hosts in America, they were still eating meat, right? So Prabhupada was still using the same kitchen, right? But again, he knew that in the service of the Lord, he was doing it. So the purity that he had made everything pure. Yeah. Okay, anybody else would like to say anything, share anything, reflections, realizations?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, Dhanvat Pranam.
So from the writing earlier, it says that Prabhupada had a firm determination. I am not a man to be disappointed. That says a lot about him. Earlier in the writing, when he asked the help from the Gaudiya society,
Yes.
and then they refused to collaborate with him, then he wrote them back that I'm not a man to be disappointed. Don't worry.
Yes. Yeah, that is again, where is that firm faith coming from, right? So when anarthas are clean, that's why the process is there, the gradual ladder that we talked about from Shraddha. First of all, we have some Shraddha. If you have some Shraddha, then Krishna guides us to a pure devotee, right? Then we get sadhu sangha, we get association of pure devotees. Through that association, we do bhajan kriya. They tell us how to worship the Lord, how to perform the Navada Bhakti. When we keep following those instructions sincerely, we may be very fallen, but just by following those instructions of pure devotee, pure Vaishnava, then we make progress. Then the anarthas, the chitta shuddhi starts happening. Until chitta shuddhi happens, then we say, Naam haite sarva, Naam haite Sarvanarthanash, नाम అయితే संसार नाशन, एंड देन चित्त शुद्धि होती है. चित्त शुद्धि के बाद में सर्व भक्ति साधना उद्गम. सो वंस चित्त शुद्धि happens, then pure love, pure devotion, lightens up in the heart, and that is the process, that is the path, or that is the stage of nishtha, firm determination. So yeah, like you said here, he has, of course, he is on the stage of prema. So after nishtha comes ruchi, we get little taste. Krishna gives the taste, right? Otherwise, chanting the same 16 syllable mantra, how many times can we chant? Like we say, in so many songs come in Bollywood, you can sing those songs for 5 times, 10 times, maybe 100 times, in a loop. But after that, you will get bored. Right? You want something new. That is the nature of the soul in this world. We want variety. But this Mahamantra, for millions of years, it has been chanted and being chanted and chanted and chanted by the same devotee, by multiple devotees over, thousands and thousands of years, and still it is going on. So that ruchi, that taste Krishna gives, that is the mercy of Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. With their mercy, that taste comes. But yeah, the nishtha, where he says, I'm not a man to be disappointed. So yes, that is very, very powerful. That, he had firm faith, firm determination, sudrida vishwas, they say. Kritu Maharaj, when he was here, he was saying, anything that we want to do in bhakti, first, we need to develop that sudrida nishchay, how that consistency will come. Consistency in practice will come when we have sudrida nishchay. And sudrida nishchay will come when we anartha nivritti happen. And anartha nivritti will happen when we properly follow the process of bhajana kriya as instructed by Sri Guru. So we have to follow this process of chanting nicely, sincerely, attentively. Then anarthas will be removed. Our chitta will be shuddha. Then we will get firm determination. Then we will get consistency. Then we will get, taste by the mercy of Sri Guru, Sri Gauranga. And then we will get asakti, attachment, then bhava, then prema, right? So that is our journey. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Anybody else would like to say anything? All right.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, Shrimataji.
In one of Chaitanya Charan's Prabhu's lecture, he said like determination means keeping your intention above your emotion, and Prabhupada is a great example for that. That quote just, always whenever I'm like, oh, I don't want to do this or chant, he always, like Prabhupada always kept his intention of, spreading Krishna consciousness over his emotion. Of course, he is not tired or anything, but at the age of his age, 70 and all, he must have experienced some physical problems, but he always knew where to go. So, yeah.
Yes. Thank you, Mataji. Okay, that's all here for today. Thank you for your kind association. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Anantakoti Vaishnavinda ki jai. Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Jai Shri Radhe
Jai Jai
Shyam
Shri
Nitai
Radhe, Radhe
Gaur
Radhe,
Gaur.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.